Hey, John.
Hey, Eric. How are you tonight?
I am fantastic. I just need to think of new words. That's all I can think of. Because I'm always fantastic.
You're always fantastic. Okay.
Generally.
Yeah.
Most of the time. A
You know,
good, a heavy percentage.
no complaints here. No
No.
complaints here.
Had my long road trip weekend, dropping off child number 3 at college. So I now have
Congratulations.
3 grown adults no longer living at home. I suppose that now officially makes us empty nesters. So far, so good, I suppose.
I don't know. Congratulations, or I'm sorry. I'm not sure which. Maybe both, depending on the time and the.
Let me tell you that I think, when I went to college, well, I was the oldest of 6, and so my parents were probably, one less to worry about it. But when I went to college, there was no text messaging, FaceTime. So, I mean, I talked to the kids almost as much as I did when they were at home because, it's just so convenient to, hey, how was classes today? Hey, did you go to the pharmacy? Did you get your whatever? And so it's
Very connected
different.
world we live in.
Yes, it's different. So
Yes.
it is. I will say I joked about this before they all left, but I did do appreciate the fact that my tools are where I leave them. I don't have to hunt around my yard for my rake. I can go downstairs and the lights are all off. There are some small joys that I'm finding in the house being pretty much empty.
I cannot empathize with you because when I look for where I last left something, I can't remember where I last left something. And I'm a very bad person about putting things down once I'm done with them. And then going, oh, where did I put that? and being like, okay, having to walk back. Oh, I last used it here. Oh, did I leave that? Oh, I bet I did. Anyway,
No.
So I keep promising myself I'll do better. And I am in some ways. Like there are some things that I'm like religious about, but
Yeah.
not enough.
Things have a place, and if you put them where they go, they will be there when you need them.
You are not the only person that tells me this.
I imagine someone else in your house might mention the same thing to you.
Once or thrice.
So, anyways, yes, all 3 kids are out of the house. It's just me and the missus, and so what do we do for dinner now? You know what we can do? Whatever we want.
Whatever you want.
We don't need to make anything. We don't need to prep anything. We don't need to worry about schedules. It's, what would you like tonight? I don't know. Let's make something.
How about some food?
That's right.
I can totally see where in that world having those prepared meal systems or whatever would be very handy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's been 4 days now. It's Thursday, so it's been 4 days. We'll see at some point if I start to what the downsides start cropping up. I'm sure they will at some point, but
for sure.
So far all good.
For sure. Okay, so I think when we last spoke last Wednesday, I might have mentioned, I forget, that I was going to go to a woodturners group down in Salem.
Uh-huh.
Which I did. And they gave lessons on how to create threaded inserts with wood, which was cool, and sharpening tools, which was why I actually wanted to go. It was good. It was very good. It was there was a lot of people there. There was probably 40 people there or so.
Okay.
And some beautiful samples of work. They evidently, as part of the club, they have like a challenge every month and say, hey, make this. And then there's a table up front that has a bunch of stuff of things that made. And it was winged vessels was the thing for this one. And so anyway, there were some cool things that I I took a couple pictures of basically frilly bowls. I don't know what you'd say. Like,
frilly bowls?
Like a vase, but with like a
wings?
Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like when you're turning, everything has to be like, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but it has to, be round in some ways. But anyway, I'd have to show you some pictures.
I would have to see pictures to understand.
Clearly, you seem to be
my face that no one else can see is clearly a face of confusion.
But yeah, it's basically think of like a vase or something like that, but where part of the vase kind of sticks out farther than you'd think otherwise. Was some of them, and some of them were just different bowl shapes with. Anyway, but they looked very cool.
Okay.
And boy, that guy made sharpening implements and tools look very easy.
Of course.
And of course, because who knows how many years he's been doing it. And because I've never used real tools. I've only used those carbide tools, which are kind of fake, sort of.
Kind of fake.
They're not fake, but they have just little tiny carbide shaped implements on the end, and that's all it is this little tiny, maybe call it a 2 centimeter circle. That the very edge of it is super sharp, and that's what you're scraping with. And
right,
and it's not a bowl gouge or anything like that. And so I asked the guy afterwards. I'm like, so how often do you actually sharpen? He's like, if I'm turning a bowl, every 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm like, what? I mean, because I don't sharpen, like these things don't get sharpened. These carbide tools don't get sharpened. You can occasionally, take a little Allen wrench, loosen it up, and then turn the circle like, a quarter turn or something like that to hit another part of the circle. But but he had a good analogy. He's like, well, just think about if you're doing a 12-inch bowl, 12-inch circumference bowl at 1,000 RPM, it's going, 1,000 feet a minute underneath the blade. So, by the time 2 minutes, 3 minutes gone around, you've gone like a quarter of a mile underneath the tool. And I'm like, that's a good way to think about that. I hadn't really, but anyway, so he's like, yeah, I just leave his sharpening wheels just on all the time, and then just kind of, turns around, shoop, puts a little edge back on it, and then goes back to work.
Huh.
So I'm like, yet another thing I'll have to buy at some point. But I have all these tools. I forget if I mentioned this on the podcast, but I have all these tools that from the lathe that I bought,
right?
The guy that I bought the lathe from, and they're sharp now, but I almost didn't want to use them because I didn't want to dull them without any ability to sharpen them again. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that was one fun thing I did.
Okay.
And then the other fun thing I did was fun. I'm going to use air quotes for that fun. It is. This was Asian Pear Weekend. So,
okay.
If you and your wife would like Asian pears, there are still, there's still quite a few out on the tree. But I think my wife and I picked. I'm going to go with 5 buckets of Asian pears. And so processed them in, I think, just 2 ways.
Applesauce?
We did not. Oh, we did. Yes. 3 ways. So thank you. Asian pear sauce. Dried pears. So
okay. Took
a whole bunch of them, and
that would be my preference. I like dried fruit.
Oh, I'll bring you some at some point. So we dried a whole bunch until the dehydrator was completely full, and we have quite a large dehydrator, and then put a whole bunch in for Asian pear, basically pear sauce. And then the rest I did the next day for just juice.
Okay.
Just, I think I might have said like a long time ago that my wife got me a juicer for Christmas. Mm-hmm. I think last Christmas, maybe the Christmas before. And so I spent all day Sunday. She was gone most of the day, and I spent all day Sunday, most of the day Sunday, processing pears.
I think I remember
It's like,
texting you or talking to you at some point, and you're saying, it smells very nice in my house.
it does. It does.
I am very tired.
It does. It smells very nice in my house, but my back kind of hurts from sitting in that chair and having to kind of hunch over. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, have you ever used one of those apple slicers where you kind of turn
you roll
it
it
and
through the thing and it peels it.
It both peels and cores it at the same time?
Yes.
Such a clever implement. Like, just amazing. And I know they're not new. They've been around for, I don't know, a long time. There's nothing complicated about it. As far as I know, they still had they had those like 100 years ago or longer. But for doing all the dried fruit and for doing the stuff that we did pear sauce on, doing that and then just cutting it in half and then doling out the slices.
Indispensable for dried fruit.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
Nice.
So anyway,
very nice.
But so that was my weekend. I am now now fully prepped with Asian pears. And if you want Asian pears, and they're delicious.
I will ask if she wants to make a trip on a Saturday or something, since we have no kid activities to deal with anymore.
Sounds good. If it's this weekend, do make it Saturday, because I think I'm going to go fishing again on Sunday.
Okay.
So, but we'll see.
I will ask.
I don't have the details yet, but a friend texted me and said, "Hey, you want to go fishing on Sunday?" And I was like, "Sure."
Nice.
We did make fish tacos, by the way, with that cod that
you caught last time?
I caught last Friday. And that was it was good. It was
nice.
Very good.
Yeah. Nice.
It was good. Anyway. So, hey, I threw something in follow-up.
I saw it, and you made me watch it right before we started.
I did. I think it was last night on, I was just about to go to bed, and Stephen Colbert was on, and in one of his segments, he was like, in other news, something like that, scientists use food dye found in Doritos to make see-through mice.
Hey, something fun follow-up.
I was like, your something fun made it onto the late night show. and I loved it. It was like, scientists use food dye found in Doritos to make see-through mice, and I will continue to eat Doritos. Yeah. Nothing you can do will stop me. But anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. So I'll throw a little link in here to the
YouTube video
segment. Yeah, I was like, oh, hey.
Nice.
Eric was leading on that one, but thought that was funny.
All right. Temu is a discount website, right? I saw something so it wasn't a security thing. It was how do they get around import restrictions? And evidently there's some import loophole that if it's under a certain dollar amount and it's direct to a person, like it doesn't go through like some import tariffs or right. something along those lines. And that's kind of one of the ways that they're kind of getting through some of the red tape, is since everything's direct to people. Yeah.
Anyway. So yes, aware of Temu.
Temu is a discount Amazon operated out of China, but they do have a U.S. Team and folks in the U.S. doing that. Anyways, so that's just kind of orthogonal to the conversation here. I guess on yesterday, a hacker claimed to have stolen a database with 87 million records from Temu and was attempting to sell it on the dark web. And they said, they had usernames, IDs, IP addresses, full names, dates, shipping addresses, phone numbers, hashed passwords. Temu came out and said, hey, our security team has conducted a comprehensive investigation into the alleged data breach and can confirm that the claims are categorically false. The data is being circulated is not from our systems. Not a single line of the data matches our transaction records. That's what Temu said. And then
transaction records.
They came out and said, "Hey, and we take any attempt to tarnish our reputation or harm our users extremely seriously. Of course, all this stuff, and we will pursue legal action against those responsible for spreading false information and attempting to profit from malicious activities." And of course, the obligatory at Temu, the security and privacy of our users are paramount. We follow industry-leading practices for data protection and cybersecurity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
your data is very important to us.
Yes. Temu says this. This is a Bleeping Computer article, and Bleeping Computer contacted a threat actor about the breach, and they insisted and continued to say that it was Temu that they got the data from, and the threat actor claimed that they still had access to Temu's company email and internal panels, and they were all running vulnerable code. However, for Bleeping Computer, the threat actor did not share any proof to Bleeping Computer's satisfaction. So, they couldn't verify that it was true. And so there you go. You got the he said, she said thing. Who knows? The key point for this for me was the update earlier today. So I think I had seen this article either this morning or late last night, and before the update was in the article, and the update says, the threat actor has been banned on breach forums for misrepresenting and attempting to sell data that was already publicly available. And Checkpoint Research was investigating the claim, told Bleeping Computer that some of the information the threat actor had posted appeared to originate from a data breach elsewhere dating back to mid-2021. So, okay, looks like Temu was accurate. It wasn't their data, and this guy was just going after it. So it'll be interesting to see if Temu's able to legally pursue whoever this person is. Likely not, as they're probably in some other forum, but...
Likely not.
That threat actor was banned from other places trying to sell stuff publicly available. So honor among thieves, I guess. I don't know. So there you go. That's
okay.
That was the interesting thing that caught my eye today.
I'm sure that means that shopping on Temu is secure, right?
Of course it does.
Okay. It's good.
No sarcasm.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right.
Okay. So I got this from Zach Whitaker's newsletter.
Yep.
But because a couple of weeks ago there was a cyber attack hitting Transport for London, which is the kind of the organization that runs the tube and buses and stuff like that. And they had a couple of weeks ago been saying there's no evidence that any customer data was identified or breached or anything else. But a couple of things have happened in the last little bit. So the first of which is, he says, there's an update on its cyber incident page. I think this article was about a week ago. So it said, Transport for London said it continues to deal with a, quote, ongoing incident. The update removed a line that previously said, quote, there is no evidence that any customer data has been compromised, and was replaced with, the security of our systems and customer data is very important to us. This is like, do you, I don't know. It's the thoughts and prayers of cyber breaches.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the second thing related to this is that evidently there was an arrest of a teenager in relation to the attack. So a 17-year-old was taken into custody and then released on bail after questioning or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what happens along those lines. And then the third thing in this is evidently if you work for Transport for London, all the employees are still locked out of all of their IT systems.
Oh.
And in order to allow them back on to the IT systems, they're verifying everybody's identity in person.
Okay. That's one way to do it.
There was, I looked at the website for Transport for London, and currently, if you look at that, at least as we record this, if you open the website, it says, for getting back online, it says, please visit our password reset hub and guidance page for information about opening times and what you need to bring. Basically to the, so there's the quote in there is, right above that is, given the severity of the situation, how important it is to protect ourselves and our customers, you will need to attend an in-person appointment to verify your identity and reset your password. And then below that, it says, please visit our password reset hubs and guidance for information about opening times. That used to say, there's a picture that Zach had in his newsletter that said, resetting 30,000 colleague passwords in person will take some time, and we will be prioritizing the allocation of time slots centrally. So evidently, 30,000 people are having to come to one of, I kind of browsed through a page, but there were quite a number of places where they could go to have this done. But
right,
getting it back, recovered and operational is gonna be a chore for them. So anyway, more excitement in Transport for London at the moment. So that was my first one.
Okay.
Second one, guy leaving Black Hat was like, noticed something and had a little bit of a fun adventure. So here's the lead of the article is, it's not every day that a security researcher acquires the ability to generate counterfeit HTTPS certificates, track email activity, and the position to execute code of his choice on thousands of servers all in a single blow that costs $20 and a few minutes to land. So okay. I don't know if you've read this, but
I did.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you, what is it always?
It's always DNS.
It's always. So, yeah. So this is a domain .mobi, MOBI.
Right.
Its Whois server, which is the official registry for every domain ending in .mobi, was relocated from whois.mobiregistry.net to whois.nic.mobi. At some point, they moved where the authoritative source was, but then they let the .net domain expire.
Of course. So anybody can pick it up.
So that's what Harris did. He's like, oh, wait, I can register .mobiregistry.net. So he does. $20. Here you go. Registers it. And, sets up a DNS server on there. And, within, what did it say? It said, to Harris's surprise, his server received queries from slightly more than 76,000 unique IP addresses within a few hours of setting it up. Over 5 days, it received roughly 2.5 million queries from about 135,000 unique systems.
Okay.
Including who's who heavyweights, it says, of domain registrars, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
But, the problem with this, of course, is...
You could craft any kind of cert you want.
Well, the certificate generating authorities have automated processes that send emails, for example, require to a particular email address at a particular domain that verifies, supposedly, that you own that domain because you can control the email at that domain.
Correct.
And, if you want to, he said he created a certificate or a CSR, a certificate signing request for Microsoft.mobi, at which point GlobalSign sends him an email saying, are you sure do you own the Microsoft.mobi domain? And of course, since he's in control of the DNS at .mobi, he
could.
He says that, quote, the email gave him the option of receiving a verification link at whois@watchtower.com, but for ethical reasons, he stopped the experiment at this point.
Right.
So remember the first things that it said: generate counterfeit HTTPS certificates, track email activity. Is what else? What else happens at domain names? DMARC.
Yeah.
Domain verification. That so you can then, not that you can see the emails that are going through there, but you can track who's requesting DMARC verification, and therefore know who is communicating between domains. So it's sort of a bit of a side channel or attack or information disclosure.
Yep.
So that's sort of the tracking email, and then the position to execute code is, the quote in the article is that, various whois clients and security services also contain vulnerabilities. I'm actually reading this here. Some of which make it possible for an attacker to execute malicious code on a querying device. But normally, exploits of that sort are unlikely because you would have to control the DNS server. But if you have a rogue DNS, or if you're a rogue owner of the root server, you would be under no such constraints. You could take advantage of vulnerabilities like that. Well done, Harris. The
good times.
Yeah. The sort of final thing is that we're of the opinion. There was comments up earlier in the article about look, all of this infrastructure was set up at a time, decades ago,
right?
And it's semi-secured by best practices, but we see things fall through the cracks all the time. So there's the final sentence is, we are of the opinion that this will continue to be a painful issue that reoccurs as we see the recycling of infrastructure, domains, etc.
Yeah, it almost feels like you need some kind of graveyard set up by someone who owns things that, if it's a server that does something along these lines, it shouldn't just go back to the world. There should be some... Feels like this is a solvable problem, I suppose.
All problems are solvable problems. I refuse to believe
software.
I refuse to believe that there aren't a set of solvable problems in software. But the incentives, what are the incentives?
There you go.
And who's got the incentive? And
there you go.
And do the incentives align? Yeah, I often. It's amazing how many times in the last few decades I think back to, I think it was Freakonomics that first kind of introduced that concept to me, at least.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go.
Okay.
So it's always DNS.
It's always DNS. It's always infrastructure created in the 1970s.
Was that 70s or was that early 80s? Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Something fun. So you remember the game Boggle? Did you ever play the game Boggle?
Oh, are you kidding me?
Okay.
You're asking me this question?
Okay.
Have we?
No.
Okay.
All right.
So from the time I was probably 7 or 8, I used to play Boggle with my grandmother when we would go down for summer vacation. And so, yes, I don't even know how many games of Boggle I have played. It was a family favorite too.
All right. Well, then I may have found you a new fun game to play. So This is the New York Times, and it's called Strands. It's kind of like word search meets Scrabble meets crossword puzzles, but to me, it really reminds me more of Boggle. And the game, basically what the game is it's a grid of letters. So, like you would think of any word search or anything. And you have to create words that follow a theme. So to the left is a theme, like whatever the theme might be. And all the words are somehow related to that. And so you have to go through and find them all. And one of the words is the spangram, which is the key word for the theme. And the rest of them kind of work around it. So you can kind of see that. So it's kind of, you got to figure out, like today's theme is September 19th. It's work out the bugs. And so you got to find, it's
Okay.
probably like some bugs. So there's probably like, I have not done it yet. And I haven't done it because it's my wife's favorite game. And we actually do this before we go to bed. We play a few of these games, and this is one on her list that she likes to do. So I don't want to do it because it's a shared New York Times account. But I think you can get to this without having to have a New York Times account.
I can see it here.
So anyway.
But hold on. Are the words never overlap?
Nope. You have to, every letter is used up, and they don't cross. So it makes either a square or diagonal. So you can find the words in squares or diagonals. And if you find a word that is a legitimate word that's at least 4 letters, but it's not in the word, then you get 3 of those words together, and then you can ask for a hint. So if you need a hint. So you see there's like a little hint button down there. So
I haven't actually pulled it up. I'm kind of they've got a little animated video going on at the moment that I'm intentionally not doing it, just in case it was timed once it let it go or something like that.
No, it's not timed. So anyways, that's the game. It's a word game. It takes probably 3 or 4 minutes to do, but it's just kind of fun, and it reminds me of Boggle because, like you, I used to play that a lot as a kid. It was the cool game to have. So there you go. That's my something fun. Go check out. It's called Strands.
Strands. Okay. I've never really gotten into these word things online, these word games online. But,
Wordle. I think Wordle was one of my something funs a while ago.
Yeah.
Because the family does that one. Now the family, what's left of the family at the house. So the 2 of us, we like this one and we do this one.
Okay.
So there you go. That's my something fun.
Okay. Well, I got my something fun also out of Zach's newsletter. And I was like, is this a technical, like, is this a security feature? But is it something fun? And I was like, I'm going to use it for something fun.
Okay.
So it's called Gazeploit, and it is a attempt to, on a virtual keyboard. So think virtual reality.
Okay.
Where you've got a virtual keyboard.
Okay.
And you have a shared avatar. They're tracking the avatar's eyes to try and figure out what letters they're typing on the keyboard. So I don't think I'm not convinced that this would work, at least for like a touch typist. I mean, I don't look at the keyboard when I type. I'm sure you don't either.
No.
Like who does? But you have the tactile feedback, and you're looking at something else. So I have a really hard time seeing. And in fact, that when I first read it, I was like, how would this work if you're a touch typist and isn't like most people type? Who looks at the keyboard when they type?
My children.
Well, you can. Okay, but
no, but I know. I don't look at the keyboard.
The example they're using is a virtual keyboard, seemingly in VR. So, but what they're doing is they're tracking the eye of the avatar.
Okay.
Or the I think it's of the avatar. And then they train a model, right? So they train a model to detect between typing and not typing. So they have a RNN, basically a recurrent neural network that identifies when somebody's doing an exercise that involves typing. And then let's see, it says they rely on 2 biometrics extracted from persona recordings, eye aspect ratio, and eye gaze estimation. So basically, whether you're looking and for blinks, because there's a clear, in their data at least, frequency of eye blinking as a signal. And then the second
blink on the space bar kind of thing?
No, I think it says the quote is frequency of eye blinking decreases during typing sessions.
Oh, so that's an indicator that you're typing.
It's a way to try and indicate when they should try and monitor.
Okay.
So they gather 2 things: the eye aspect ratio for blinking, and eye gaze estimation. So basically, what's the vector of where your eyes are looking, and then it says they use supervised learning on these features to distinguish typing sessions from other VR-related activities, such as watching videos or playing video games. Then we map the gaze estimation directions on a virtual keyboard to determine the potential keystrokes. So it says the direction of eye gaze tends to be more concentrated and exhibits a periodic pattern during typing sessions. And then frequency of eye blinking decreases during typing sessions. So it says they collected a gaze typing data set from 30 participants and achieved a accuracy, precision, and recall. So accuracy rate of 98.1%, precision of 90.5%, and recall of 97.2% when using 18 participants to train and the other 12 as a validation set. Or test set. And so there you go. And there's a little video in there, but it still seemed a little contrived to me, but also
sure.
I totally was dismissing it at first because I was seriously thinking, in fact, I might have, if you caught me in the notes, it was like, how could this be real with touch typists? And it didn't really dawn on me that it was only in a virtual keyboard for a bit. So anyway, but there you go. So
the new hacker email is, I have your passwords now because I stole your camera and watched what your eyes were doing while you typed.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, your avatar was flickering. Their gaze was flickering.
Right.
Or now, Meta or Apple's going to have to introduce random avatar eye spinning.
That's right.
When the keyboard is in use.
Goodness gracious. Good stuff, John.
There you go. But I thought, well, there you go. Clever.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fun.
That's fun.
There you go.
All right. Cool. Well, have a good night, John.
All right, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
We'll see you later. Bye.